yung pong ating gobyerno ay talagang hinati na tatlong hanay para hindi mag-aabuso yung isa sa isa't isa. Ayan po ang tinatawag na balance of power or the distribution of governance power, governmental powers. Judiciously exercising our oversight powers, your committee, the Blue Ribbon Committee, motu proprio and with several resolutions, launched this investigation, circulated its report, and has been following up with senators for their signatures signifying their votes. Our latest letter thereto is dated 20 May 22. I have a copy here right now, Mr. President, and I'm attaching this as part of the record. I look forward to clarity on the respective positive or negative responses of our senators. I even look at the possibility that they may say they will dissent, or they will amend, or they will interpolate, which has been the practice. The senators are representatives of the people and who possess a national constituency. We require our fellow senators' votes so we can bring Pharmally to the plenary. If you are voting for or against our report, let us make it clear in the record. Unang-una po, ang Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ay talagang yan lamang ang tanging committee na binigyan ng napakalaking kapangyarihan para palabasin ang malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance. At kailangan magkaroon tayo ng closure dyan. The reading and inclusion of any document in the record of the Senate as well, by the way, in the journal, may be ordered upon request of a senator after his brief explanation of the object of his request, which is what I'm doing right now, Mr. President. The Senate's full disclosure on the Pharmally plunder controversy achieves closure for our people. I am doing this as chairman and a chairman in a quandary. I respect my fellow members. I do not try to antagonize them or badmouth them. I respect the Filipino people. But we cannot shirk from our responsibilities or our duty to act on a committee report by not signing it, either in agreement or disagreement. And by doing so, we bring it to the plenary where it can be debated, Mr. President. Pwedeng pagdebatihan yan. Diyan natin marinig kung ano talaga ang mga naging posisyon natin. The people of this country should not be denied a judgment or at the very least a debate on whether there was malfeasance, misfeasance, or nonfeasance. Hindi natin dapat ipagkait kung paano tayo nakarating dito sa inabot nating desisyon ng Kongreso. Otherwise, why create a committee if we cannot decide? If we cannot even show how we voted, Mr. President? The Blue Ribbon found acts, omissions, and evidence tantamount to violations of law of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and clear malevolent acts of favoritism leading to prejudice against our people at the most challenging chapter of our nation's history, an international pandemic. Dastardly acts in Pharmally were done with impunity. One of the questions now, therefore, is what must be done with PSDBM, Yusek Lau, Mr. Leong, who is now Deputy Ombudsman, and Mr. Michael Yang, and the others who are part and parcel of this investigation. We recommend prosecution against them based on the unearthed facts and laws. That has been done in the committee report. First among such persons are Michael Yang and Lin Wei Xiong. They are business partners who practically finance and organize the operations of Pharmally. We know Pharmally as a severely undercapitalized corporation. Wala akong sapat na kapital. Sapagkat ang kapital po nila ay 650,000 pesos lamang. And seriously lacking in the requisite legal and technical qualifications. They are really mere agents to secure government contracts worth 11 billion pesos. Makin nyo, napakaswerte naman po nito. Siguro, kahit na sino dito makakapag-raise sa 650,000, ang kailangan lang ay koleksyon para makakuha ng 11 billion pesos of contracts. Ngayon, naghihikaos tayo para makautang at makahiram ng pera para madala natin ang ating bansa sa pagkaayos. These two Michael Yang and Lin Wei Xiong had also been in the past implicated in the illegal drug trade. Michael Yang and Lin Wei Xiong are nationals of a country that has seized, occupied, developed, and militarized parts of Philippine territory. They are not citizens of the Philippines. And prevent our fishermen from fishing in our own exclusive economic zone, among other repetitive and continuing illegal and immoral acts of bullying. The wife of Lin Wei Xiong, Rose Nono Lim, even ran for a congressional seat in Quezon City and was accused of massive vote buying, probably financed by her husband's, and her husband's partner's illegal activities. On many years, they did not even pay taxes. And when they did pay, they paid only a few thousands. From businesses commenced in Davao in 1999, Michael Yang only began paying income taxes in 2018, and as of 2021, had only paid 191,600 in total, consisting of 7,600 pesos in 2018. Yun lang po ang binayad na tax. 110,000 in 2019, and in 2020, 74,000 for a total of 191,600. Para mga linta, acting like leeches, they suck the blood out from all of us. Nagpalaki sila. They fattening themselves without even giving back to our country and its people who have welcomed them here. Their plunder was truly phenomenal, perfidious, unprecedented. They cannot be allowed to sojourn here any longer. Dapat dinideport yan pagkatapos mahusgahan. Expedited proceedings must now be initiated for these persons' removals. Pero wala pa ata ako narinig o nakikita na ginagawa ng ating gobyerno. In fine, our hearings, the testimony heard, and the documents collated all point to Mr. Yang Hong Min, aka Michael Yang, as the one who not only financed and operated, but given his tremendous influence, engineered this whole odious enterprise. The nefarious scheme would not have been successful without the indispensable cooperation of public officers, who must be held accountable. Lloyd Christopher Lau, erstwhile head at Procurement Service, Department of Budget and Management, PSDBM, and Warren Rex Leong. They are subordinate of Mr. Lau and now overall, na-promote pa. Pagkatapos hindi makuha si Lau sa ombudsman, deputy, pinalatan naman ni Leong, the second highest anti-graft official of the Philippines. At yan, inamin ni Presidente na yan ay makakatulong niya nung kampanya niya bilang Presidente at nung siya ay mayor. Evidence shows that Lau confessed even to negligence in ensuring procurement of medical items at best and lowest prices from pharmaceutical products, manufacturers, and suppliers, rather than persons or corporations without the appropriate legal, technical, and financial capabilities to guarantee supply to the government. Lau gave 8 to 11 billion pesos worth of government procurement contracts to Pharmally, Pharmaceutical Corporation, a corporation without the appropriate legal, technical, and financial qualifications required by law for procurement contracts. Malinaw po yan, kahit na emergency purchase. Evidence also shows that Liao's assistant, was procurement director of PSDBM when it gave the procurement contracts to Pharmally. He signed documents for approval by Lau. He was in charge of requesting quotations from possible suppliers and recommending the approval of price monitoring or market survey reports, which suggested that Pharmally submitted the lowest bids and to justify award of the contracts to Pharmally. For example, for a 54 million peso contract for face masks under purchase order P020-00181-CSE on April 20, a review of the actual bid proposals of the two other companies would reveal that these were dated 15 April 2020, a day after the date of purchase order to Pharmally, which is 14 April 2020. The supposed bid of two other companies, Cosmic Technologies Incorporated and Ashton Homes, used in the Price Monitor Market Survey report of PSDBM, were both dated the day after the purchase had already been awarded to Pharmally. Talagang lokohan. Lau and Leong, public officers are clearly criminally liable under, among others, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Section 3E, Republic Act 3019, undue injury to any party, including the government, or giving any private party any unwarranted benefits, advantage, or preference in the discharge of its official, administrative, or judicial functions through manifest partiality, evident bad faith, or gross and inexcusable negligence. And Section 3G, entering on behalf of the government into any contract or transaction, manifestly and grossly disadvantageous to the same, whether or not the public officer profited or will profit thereby. PSDBM Inspection Division Officer in Charge, Jorge Mendoza, admitted to not seeing, inamin niya, and thus not inspecting the supplies personally. Instead, he just relied on documents and followed the instructions to him by his superior to simply sign the requisite documents to make it appear that supplies had actually arrived and been inspected and delivered to the PSDBM when in fact they were allegedly still en route from China. Parating pa lang, pinayagan na, pinirma na nang hindi nakita. PSDBM Inspection Officer Mervin Ian Ditang Quintic admitted to signing inspection certifications despite lack of actual inspection, citing orders from PSDBM management, particularly accounting office, for them to simply sign them. Pirmahan nyo na lang. Huwag na kayong tumingin. There are from Pharmally Pharmaceutical Corporation itself other co-conspirators in allowing its corporate vehicle to become an intermediary for graft and corruption under the revised corporation code. Wang Suyan, Pharmally's president, a Singapore national now, who is a fugitive from Taiwan for allegedly stealing approximately 1.2 billion pesos just a few days after he incorporated a company named Pharmally in the Philippines. Lincoln Ong, a former interpreter of Michael Yang, na sa kanyang admission 80,000 lang ang kanyang sweldo, who admitted that Michael Yang was Pharmally's financier. Crisel Mago, Pharmally's Regulatory Affairs Manager, without a valid TIN and should be charged for perjury. Dami niyang pabalik-baliktad na ginawa. Their Dargani siblings, Mohit and Twinkle, respectively the corporate secretary Mohit and the president Twinkle of Pharmally, are also crucial cogs in the machines, in the corporate wheel, in the corrupt wheel. The Darganis attempted to frustrate the Senate's efforts towards uncovering the truth by, after being cited in contempt and under questioning from Senator Hontiveros and yours truly, trying to escape to Malaysia, initially to Qatar or Dubai, and when the plane broke down, to Malaysia via a chartered jet that came from Singapore and waited for them in Davao City. Ang halaga ng charter ay $151,000 at yan ay patungo sa Qatar pero ginamit rin nila patungo sa Malaysia. The Darganis thus demonstrated and remain to be serious flight risks. Kaya hanggang ngayon, nakakulong sila sa Pasay. Pinakulong ng inyong committee. If they are released sooner than June 30, then they will surely abscond and leave the Philippines. Nahuli sila sa aeroplano. Talagang sinadya at binabati ko ang ating Sergeant at Arms na siyang lumika ng pagkakataon para mahuli mga ito sa Davao City. At doon sila kumuha at gumamit pa ng pangalan na peke para makalabas. Dala-dalawang passport itong dalawang ito. Mohit Dargani failed to pay donor's tax when he admitted to giving Twinkle Dargani with a 25 million Lamborghini, Mr. President. Pero pa yung mga kotse nila, Lincoln Ong, tatlong kotse na mga Porsche. Pati si Michael Yang may Porsche. Pati si Rose Ong, ang gaganda ng kotse, may Cadillac, Escalade. At kompleto, pati pagtira doon sa tinatawag natin sa Forbes Park at saka sa Dasmariñas. Ayan po yung mga kotse, makikita natin. 13.5 million Porsche Carrera, siling kulong. This report, therefore, is an assertion of Senate independence. It is an act of the Senate that declares no more impunity. We recommend the investigation and or punishment of those responsible for this rape of our very scarce and needed coffers and needed resources. The rape of our coffers made worse because of the acts were committed at the time of great need and when the survival of our people was in peril, in the middle of a pandemic. Sa gitna ng pandemic, nakuha pa nilang gawin yan. We must exact accountability, particularly from our public servants. And that's why this report has to be signed, Mr. President. Dapat pirmahan. Sabagat tayo lang naman sa committee ng Blue Ribbon ang pwede magsabi na may ganyang judgment. We must ensure that none of those responsible go scot-free. Our collective voices through this report can be loud enough to rouse the Ombudsman from apparent slumber or the Department of Justice. What will happen to our country and its people if nothing is done to these malefactors? Anong klaseng bayan tayo? Pinanood ng buong bansa at nakita na talagang gumawa ng katiwalian na napakalaki at kilalang kilala ng kampanya, sila sabi sa akin lahat ng tao yan. Pero ngayon, hindi natin pipirmahan bilang senador. Accountability of public officers pa naman ang pangalan natin. Dapat each senator must be accountable to at least announce his votes or sign whether he's approving or disapproving, assenting or rejecting the report. What will happen to our country's people if nothing is done to these malefactors? Walang closure. Ito na naman tayo. Kasi sinasabi, imbestiga na imbestiga, pero wala nangyayari. Pero ito kailangan magkaroon ng conclusion. Never again, we must shout to the highest heavens, never again. The investigation into the Pharmally pandemic plunder was not without difficulty. There were thousands of documents to read and many more were refused to be handed over. Numerous pieces of testimony to understand and distill. Napakahirap. Madulas yung mga testigo. Lying witnesses or resource persons, and most frustratingly, the executive's public, aggressive, and illegal acts against the Senate that were intentionally designed to prevent the Senate from having free and unimpeded access to testimony, documents, and other evidence crucial to its investigation and to the truth. Up to now, wala pang report yung Customs at saka BIR kung anong ginawa nila dito sa mga hiningi naming galaw nila. It bears emphasis that the executive prevented his cabinet and all executive department officials and employees from attending only our particular Blue Ribbon Committee hearings on Pharmally and the accounting of pandemic funds. Masyado raw mahaba, keso nababastos raw sila, hindi po totoo yan. Yan po ay pawang kasi ng galingan. In fact, tayo pa ang nababastos. Ilang beses nagtataas ang boses si Mr. Lau, lalo na sa ating lady legislator, lo siya tinatanong. Moreover, the executive sought to entirely discredit the investigation and investigators. It was as if the hearings, as if the executive desperately sought to prevent one thing from coming out. And what is that? The truth, yung katotohanan. The executive to COA said on 17 August, sa COA, 17, 2021, sa umpisa pa lang, quote, "Stop that flagging. God damn it. You make a report, do not flag, and do not publish it because it will condemn the agency or the person you are flagging. What you are doing is FLOGGING, period." Close quotes. Same executive to COA said on 27 August 2021, "Huwag kayong maniwala sa mga investigasyon. Investigasyon, kita naman ninyo, walang nangyayari. Pero lang, we will investigate. Puro lang, we will investigate. We will investigate." The executive said it was he who appointed Lau. That is not disputed. To critical posts in the government even before Pharmally, because he trusted the embattled former official who had previously worked with him in his 2016 campaign team and when he was city mayor. Quote, "Anong masama kung nagbayad ako ng utang," said the executive, close quotes. And with respect to Michael Yang, wala naman si Michael Yang. He has no manufacturing factory. Walang record yan. Hindi kriminal yan. The executive said on 8 September 2021. Sa kabila nito, hindi natin ma-issue in contempt order kay Michael Yang dahil nagtatago at hindi hinuhuli. And again, the executive on 15 September 2021 during his talk to the people screamed, "Anak ka ng P or puta." Sorry, I have to say that. Bantay ka. Bababuyin talaga kita hanggang mamatay. Addressing it to the chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee. The executive was also fiercely warned me that I quote, I would like to remind Senator Gordon that I will campaign against you. He need not do that. I knew he was going to campaign against me. And that is par for the course. All politicians accept that, Mr. President. I don't take it against him. Kaya lang, lumalabas na talagang medyo natataranta doon sa nangyayari sa committee. Hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit. Wala naman akong sinasabi. This undue interference cannot be allowed to continue, especially in the future. We have a new administration coming over, a new Senate. The authority, powers, and prerogatives of the Senate are constitutionally granted. The Blue Ribbon Committee is invested with power and duty to investigate cases of malfeasance, misfeasance, or nonfeasance committed by public officers. This has been the very basis of our authority for calling the motu proprio investigations on Pharmally. It is our sacred duty to defend the truth, to ferret out the truth, and above all, to defend the Senate as a co-equal branch of government. Those things said, I urge all of our members here, to continue to ensure that the Senate remains independent, to remain resistant and free from undue constraints imposed by the executive, and to remain the bastion of the rule of law. After all, is it not true that a central precept of our government structure is that the Philippine Senate is independent? For their support, solidarity, and principled stand, I thank the people who have signed, the senators who have signed so far. Senator Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, Senator Pampilo Ping Lacson. I think he will propose amendments as well, and this could have been done by the other senators who did not sign. Senator Emmanuel Pacquiao, without reservations. Senator Leila de Lima, Senator Aquilino Martin Coco Pimentel III, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, who made reservations to interpolate. Senator Risa Ontiveros Barakel, who made reservations as well. And Senate President Pro Tempore Ralph G. Recto only a few days ago, as promised, signed, and that he would make some amendments on the committee report. Something that I wish could be done hopefully tomorrow, so that if it is discussed, then we can debate and make amendments. Salamat din po sa napakaraming grupong nagbigay sa amin ng lakas upang ipagpatuloy ang labang ito. Hindi po laban ito. Ito ay ang ating paninindigan. Hindi laban ito. Wala naman po tayo kinakalaban. Kasama po dito ang iba't ibang haligi ng healthcare sector. Filipino Nurses United, Philippine College of Physicians, Philippine Society for Microbiology and Infectious Diseases, Philippine Neurological Association, Philippine Pediatric Society, Makati Medical Center, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Philippine Bar Association, the Chamber of Commerce of the Philippine Islands, Child Rights Network, Bishops Businessmen Conference, Investment Houses Association of the Philippines, Financial Executives Institute of the Philippines, Judicial Reform Initiative, Management Association of the Philippines, Makati Business Club, Shareholders Association of the Philippines, the Ateneo de Manila University, Ateneo de Naga University, Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan, De La Salle University, De La Salle University Shape Up, Defeat COVID-19, Wilson's Policy Center, UP College of Law, Class of 1972, De La Salle University, again, College of Law, St. Paul University, Manila, San Beda University High School, 1962, graduates, nakaklase po ng ating Pangulo yun. And Ateneo de Manila University High School Alumni Groups of Classes, 1957, 1961 and 1965. Again, I respectfully move that the report I circulated for signatures and which had garnered 9 signatures be inserted into the records of the Senate. To allow future generations to read and judge for themselves what we had done, in order to recommend the punishment of those responsible for the billions of pesos mess, and hopefully to even recover the money that has been stolen from our country. We have a responsibility to let the public know how we voted to protect the Senate and the integrity of its proceedings. Otherwise, why would we still call ourselves senators if we cannot reveal our position and cannot justify our positions? This is the forum of the people. This is the Senate of the Republic of the Philippines. Here, we can debate, we can admit, we can reject, and we can take our positions. And the people can listen to these positions so that they will be guided accordingly. We are all in the pursuit of truth. Katotohanan lamang po. Fighting all the time for a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Let us give hope to our law-abiding citizens that there is still meaning in choosing what is moral, what is lawful, what is just, and what is right. Tandaan po natin, ito ay ginawa ng panahon ng talagang pandemic na nakakatakot na maraming namamatay. Let history and more importantly, the sovereign Filipino people ultimately be our judges. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat. Yan po ang aking report at kung maaari, sana mahikayat natin pumirma pa yung gustong pumirma. Binigay ko lang kay Senator Gatchalian kanina yung gusto niya rin basahin. At kung yun ay magagawa, pwede pa natin pagdiskusyan yan bukas. At kung di naman, again, I reiterate my motion to insert the record and its attachment for the record, our draft report, and its attachments be inserted into the Senate records, including this speech. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and God bless the Republic of the Philippines.
Yes, there is no objection. The motion is approved, and therefore we place on record all the manifestation made by the gentleman from Zambales.